So this is Jordan Gray from Half Lit and DopelivenTV.
Hey, this your boy Don Ritchie representing the Midwest 219 Stand Up.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Lamar Tate.
This is your girl, Monifa.
Hey, what up? It's your man Dave Hollister from Blackstreet.
You know what this is right here. This Trigger Trench in the building.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Jason Weaver. And whenever I'm back home in the Chi, I'm checking out Dope Living TV.
Hey, it's your girl, Adina Howard, and you're watching Dope Living TV, live with Greg Gray and the crew.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Greg Gray. This is Dope Living TV Live. Let me start off by saying the views that are expressed on this Dope Living TV Live are not necessarily views of Dope Living TV or its affiliates. Hey, man, look, thank you guys for tuning in and always supporting us. We appreciate it. Most definitely appreciate it. Let's first of all, man, let's show our support. Give our prayers to the people that are in California. It's like the whole state is burning down, man. But my publicist, Katina Fields, is out there. She just sent me a text saying that they just asked her to evacuate. So let's keep her in the prayers. And my niece, Anne Charisse, is out there. She says she's okay. But it's a rough situation out there, man. Really rough situation. So let's keep our prayers up for them, man. All right. So looks like it's me by my lonesome today. Except you're never alone when you're getting knowledge. All right, knowledge gives you comfort, I should say. There's somebody in my hometown, Gary, Indiana, that won $1 million off of a ticket. On a Powerball ticket. They won $1 million. All right. So whoever you are, I don't know who you are, and I'm not saying it's me. I'm not saying it's not me, but whomever won that money, this is the show you need to watch. All right. These two ladies, man, they have put a lot of good information out there, a lot of good knowledge out there for people that are going, I'm not saying go through, but people are experiencing, an opportunity to get themselves financially fit. So we'll have a good time with Martha Washington. And I told somebody Martha Washington, and they definitely was talking about, well, Greg, did you raise her from the dead? Okay, she must be a mummy because that's George Washington's wife. But no, it's not George Washington's wife. And Atreeia Peterson. So we're gonna have a good time with them. Okay.
Hey. Good time. We're gonna have an educational time. Knowledgeable
That's always
time.
good. When you get knowledge, it's a good time. Again, before just get it out the way, I mentioned Katina out there in California. I mentioned my niece out there in California, Gina. We're gonna hold ourselves accountable and keep them in our prayers. I'm a little sick today, everybody. I'm really sick today. But I wanted to come on and hang out with the ladies. Had to do it. Got to do it. So without further ado, let's bring the ladies on. This lady is a financial wellness coach. Her name is, well, y'all know her name already. It's Martha Washington. What's going on, Martha?
It is I, Martha Washington.
She is there. It is she. It is she.
She said it is the Martha Washington.
And every time Atreeia comes on, I call it something different each time. So today it's the financial fitness coach. All right. Everybody say what's up to Atreeia Peterson. Hey.
I'll take it.
Hey. Welcome.
Hey, family.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, man. You guys have really thrown that knowledge out there for free. And we appreciate it,
He
man.
slipped that in there. Y'all heard
I
that?
had to throw it in there. I had to throw it in there for free. But it's been some good stuff. Okay, it's been good stuff. Can you guys give us a recap of the 4 days, and then let's get into the 5th day.
I can definitely do that, Sissy.
Let's do it.
So basically, today I'm incredibly excited because this is the I don't want to say the last piece because there are some other nuggets that we have to share. But I will say that for you all that haven't tuned in, by all means, don't hesitate to listen to the previously recorded shows. We touched on F, which is foundation and focus, and then A, which is access and acceleration. I for interest and investments, and T for taxes and transfer. For any specific details that any of you want to listen in on, by all means, like I said, dial into those podcasts, and there's some great nuggets that we've provided you with. And today is going to be yet another wonderful day of nuggets that we provide you with, talking about healthy habits. Now, one thing that I'd like to speak on as far as healthy habits is a lot of people think about just, the physical aspect of it, but there's so much more that ties into healthy habits. The way you handle your money, your finances, there's so many different things that tie into that. And that's what sets myself and my sister Martha aside from so many other people that are going to pour into you, is because we explain the importance of healthy habits and how it also resonates into not only your physical, but also your financial and so many other layers. So with that, I'm excited, and we've got some more nuggets to provide you with. And so with that, I'll pass it on to my sister.
Let's go, Martha.
Thank you. First and foremost, I do have some friends and family in California, Southern California, and checked on them and loved on them and prayed for them. And it's interesting that you brought up that aspect and then piggybacked on how somebody literally just won the lotto. And it just goes to show that's literally life, right? Some people are going through the absolute worst thing that you could imagine. And then other people are like having their best day ever. And most of us fall somewhere in the middle, but not being prepared for either one, because believe it or not, you have to be prepared for those come-ups. First thing that came to my mind, I'm a stats person. If you haven't figured that by now, I want to know numbers. I want to know why things happen. I like to dig deep into things. And one of the things that causes lottery winners to get in bigger financial trouble than they were before they won, because about 70% of them lose all of their money within the first 2 to 3 years. Some of them even within the first year. And at first, when I heard that, because I heard that somewhere, and I'm a researcher, like, let me go see if that's true, right? So I go start digging and researching and stuff, and it's like, whoa, that actually does happen. And one of the main reasons, of course, number one, lack of financial literacy, right? Just don't know what to do. This happened to me. Another thing, it's sudden wealth syndrome. That's the thing. Sudden wealth syndrome. Like all of a sudden, I came up on this money, and I never had it before, so I don't know what to do with it. I'm not.
What happened?
Uh-oh, she froze. She probably doesn't know.
What happened?
She froze.
Oh, man.
She doesn't even know. Sissy froze, yeah.
I heard you. Yeah, I just was trying to conjure you from beyond, right? Pressure from friends and family, right? Unsustainable spending, a bunch of stuff. But it all comes down to the main importance of why we're all here today. That's why it's important to learn these things. And it's better to have a tool before you need it.
Yeah.
And it's better to be strong before you got to move something heavy. Right? So it's even more important to have these tools and to get into these conversations and learn this knowledge and do our research and be diligent before we ever get affluent or before we ever need to have this information. So it's very timely that we would even be having these conversations right now, right? So, and I'm sorry you're not feeling well, Greg. You're
be all right though.
Your normal feisty, rambunctious self. So hopefully you feel better. You caught it from Gina from the screen from last week.
That's how it get passed around.
I get passed around. We're good though. I'm still excited. I got to come through. I'm excited to hear this.
Awesome. That's awesome. All right. So let me grab the right screen to share here with you guys. So we're talking day 5, right? Healthy habits.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I will do my little disclaimer of the content that we're talking about is informational for entertainment, not to be considered legal, tax, or financial advice. Always consult with your own qualified professional, your attorney, your accountant, your financial advisor, and address your specific circumstances and needs. And obviously, laws and regulations vary and are subject to change.
Now let me break in there real quick, okay? Because a lot of people with these disclaimers that we put out there, everything that we say in between that disclaimer and the end of the show, some people really take, the jokes we might put out there or some of the things, they take it to heart. Understand, everyone, that these are things that, number one, the ladies are trying to help. They're educating you, okay? They're not saying that you have to do this or you better do this. So you can't turn around and say, hey, well, she said this, she said that. The disclaimer clearly absolves them of any responsibility for anything stupid that you might do. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Really, the main reason, it's not even so much to cover ourselves, but because every one of us is an individual. Even with just the 4 people on the screen, if everybody had, I don't know, $100,000, I would probably give different advice to every single one of us because we are individuals with individual needs, goals, and aspirations. And it's not like everybody gets the exact same advice. It depends. It always depends, right? But we're talking about healthy habits, how timely that it's January and how timely that a bunch of us have probably made resolutions and trying to do better in life. But again, what is a habit, right? So habit is something that you do routinely that becomes behavior. At some point, you've done it so much that it's now in your subconscious. You just do it because you just do it, right? One of the things that you might think of is just driving home from work, right? You just get there somehow. You don't even know how, but all of a sudden you're home. Or what's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? Most people, and again, research, will grab their phone and start checking their phone before they even say good morning to their significant.
That's right.
It's a habit. It's a habit. Just things that you normally do that you don't even have to think about anymore. So some of them can be destructive, but hopefully, today we're going to learn how to create healthy ones. They're formed through what? Repetition. You do something long enough over and over and over and over again, and it just becomes what you do. And it becomes an automatic response. It does have impact, right? For good or for bad, depending on what it is. And you do something long enough and repetitive enough, it gets ingrained in you to the point where it becomes part of your neural pathway. One of the main reasons why they say when you're in a class, and hopefully this is you right now, that you should take notes, is science literally says that there are pathways from our brain tied to our bodies. And when you're writing something down, just the act of you writing something down creates like a link, like a wire, where now your brain will remember what you wrote down simply because you took an action and you created that neural pathway. So the more that you do it, the more it's going to get ingrained. This is why writing down affirmations and positive affirmations and things like that is key. Not just saying them and repeating them in the mirror, which is really, really good because your brain remembers activity and emotion. But if you write stuff down, it creates a wire. So it'll get ingrained in you. And then it will obviously have an influence on your behavior. If you have a habit of doing a certain thing, it's going to influence the way you behave and the way that you move in life, right? So how do we create a habit? And if we have a bad one, how do we break it? Well, today you guys are going to get a lot of Bible and a lot of word, even though it's not a sermon. I'm not going to preach to you, but that's just where God moves. He talks to me through prayer. He talks to me with worship and Bible and all of these different things. And when I prayed about how do I explain this piece, Lord? Like, what would you have me to say? What do the people need? He gave me this acronym in the shower of all places. And I'm going to break down what each of these letters stands for. But how do you create one? You need drive. And faith is an acronym. It's all the F, the A, the I, the T, the H. They all stand for something. That was all divinely imparted to me. So here we are with drive. So let's break down each one at a time. The first one is D for determination.
Okay.
So we need to determine in our mind that something is just a certain thing. It's not about a resolution. It's not even really a goal. But when you determine, when you declare, when you say this is what's so, and you just have that determination about you, there's a different way that you move and approach it than to just say, oh, this is my goal, right? If you are determined to lose weight, if you are determined to be wealthy, if you are determined, to better your relationships, whatever you determine for yourself, the way that it's defined in the dictionary is a firmness of purpose. It's a resoluteness. For example, he advanced with an unflinching determination. And I'll give you, I'm a storyteller if you haven't known by now, but there was a time some years ago where I borrowed some money from someone to invest into a project, and I was fixing a house. And I'm like, when that house sells, I'm going to, give you back your money, and I'm going to give you this much interest, and, making moves and doing some stuff. Unfortunately, the house project didn't go the way that I intended. It took a lot longer. Once we got into the basement, we found some horrible stuff was down there, had to gut the whole thing. It ate up about $30,000 of the project. It added about 3 months onto the project. So it just got to be a mess. So the person that I borrowed the money from, this is now months after I had told him I was going to pay him the money. So I'm at the bank trying to solve this, and I get a text from him. And the text basically said, I don't care what problems you've got. I don't care what's going on. You said you were going to give me my money by such and such a date. I want my money, right? And I will tell you, I'm sharing this story with you and being vulnerable with you because life happens to everybody, right? We do things. Right. Our intentions are one thing and they go sideways, not because we did anything wrong, but just because life is life. But I will tell you what, sitting in that chair, the only reason that I didn't have a breakdown was because I was in public and I was at the bank and people was looking at me.
Right.
But I got sweaty. I got nauseous. The way that the embarrassment that I felt, like he wasn't wrong. He was absolutely not wrong. And even though it wasn't my fault, it was still my responsibility. But I'm bringing that up to tell you that sitting in that chair, in that moment, I just determined I will never be in this situation ever again. I will never be in a situation where, I don't have the funds to pay somebody back, or I don't have a backup plan, or I don't have other things going on. And I just determined, like line in the sand, never again will I be in this situation. Never will I feel this way again. Never will I be a borrower. I'm going to be a lender, not a borrower. You just made that declaration, determination, and it made a difference. It wasn't just like, oh, I have a goal for next year. No, it was like end all be all. So when I tell you determination, that's what I mean. And when we're talking about finances, I think sometimes we just got to get sick of ourselves. Atreeia and I were having this conversation earlier, with all of the talent and knowledge and degrees and everything else, man, we should be zillionaires by now.
Right,
so what's the difference between somebody who does extremely well and somebody who just survives or gets by? I think it's this. I think it's that determination to just be like, you know what? I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Whatever it is for you. Maybe you already have a lot of money, but you're like, I'm tired of paying taxes on it, or I'm tired of losing money in the market, or I'm tired of whatever it is. What is that thing that you're going to determine for yourself that you want to be completely different moving forward? And so I looked at synonyms. Synonyms are things that are alike determination. That's resolution. That's willpower. And we know that God gives us will. We could decide to do whatever we want. There's repercussions to it, but we could do whatever we want. And then we have strength of will. Well, Philippians 4:13 says that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So yes, he gives us will, but he also gives us the power to be able to do different things. And then the antonyms, or the opposite, are weak-mindedness, lack of courage, and timidity. So sometimes it's not that we're doing something bad or that we're doing something wrong. It's that we're moving fearful. we're moving timid. We're moving, like too cautious. There's such a thing as being too cautious in life. And Second Timothy 1:7 says that God did not give us the spirit of fear or timidity.
Let's go. Tell them.
It's right there, right? So that's the first thing that I believe that we need is to just you declare it, more D's, and you make the determination that this is it. This
I got a question.
Is the year.
I got a question. So, and it's probably not one that you can answer like just normally, but knowing that the Bible says that, and knowing that we've seen examples of how entrepreneurs are not weak-minded. They don't lack courage. Why don't more people? Why more people don't do this? What am I trying to say? I'm a little sick. So y'all,
it's okay.
The way it's coming out.
Why don't more people
do it? Yeah.
More people do this specifically?
Yes.
Like what we're teaching?
Why are more people afraid than there are people that aren't afraid, I should say? How about that?
Of the entrepreneurial space.
Correct. Of the entrepreneurial space. Thank you, Atreeia. I'm sorry.
Got it. You're good.
That's good. You know what? I can only speak for myself and tell you that it is the illusion that we have any kind of say or any kind of job security, because we think we have job security. I got a job. There was a time before I became an entrepreneur that I was the admin for a CEO, CFO, and HR director. So I worked for the bosses. I felt in my mind, I'm never going to get any better position than that. Talk about job security, right? And this is before I had my degrees. I, got out of high school, had a baby right away, got married, and got a job. That's what we're taught to do. So I went, started getting from receptionist all the way to, executive assistant, blah, 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 whatever. It felt like it was something. But I walked into the job one day and my boss's offices were empty. No CEO, no CFO, and the HR director was sitting at the corner of my desk with all my stuff in a box. And he said, we got bought out. And the new company's bringing in their own executive team. And so none of us have a job. Here go your box. See you later. And I left that conversation feeling like, what in the world just happened? And at that time, my then husband and my brother were both mortgage loan officers. So I went and spoke to them, like, I don't know what to do. This is, right around 10 a.m. And they're like, start doing loans with us. Like, come process the loans. And I did that. And then we opened up our own mortgage company. And it kind of created an opportunity that I would have never sought out. I love certainty. I love to wake up in the morning and know what things are going to be. I like what things are same. I don't good with change. Once I put furniture in a room, like it will literally be in that spot for 10 years. Like I love certainty. So this was for me, the worst thing that you could have done was pulled out the rug from under me. But why did I never go back to corporate America after that? Why have I been an entrepreneur since 1999 when that happened? Because I just determined that I don't ever want to go back to letting somebody else dictate my own future. At least if I'm going to run my own business, I get to decide. If I need more money, guess what? I pick up the phone. I make more phone calls. I make more appointments. I hit the pavement. I go knock on doors. I do whatever I got to do, but it's up to me. I don't show up at a desk every morning and ask somebody, can I please take a day off? Can I please go to the bathroom? Nope. I mean, people literally have to ask to go to the bathroom.
That's true.
What are we? I mean, I read something just yesterday that said bosses don't even sound real. Think about it. You're a whole grown person asking another grown person, can you get a
PP?
So what do you guys think about that?
I definitely can speak to that as well. So the entrepreneurial space is definitely fearful for a lot of people, to answer your question, Greg. Me being a part of corporate America for more than 15 years, 20, I lost count. It gives you a false sense of security. So many people rely on, let me make sure I have insurance in place. Okay. Life, health, dental, all that, because you have a family to take care of, so there's certain aspects that you get from corporate America that gives you that false sense of security. everybody can be replaced. Going back to Sissy's example, when the box was at, I'm sure she killed it in the position that she was in, makes no difference. You can be replaced. You can be replaced. So that entrepreneurial space is very fearful for a lot of people because, number one, there is the uncertainty of what am I going to do? What does that look like? How am I going to make money? Am I going to have benefits? Am I going to have this? I get it. I get it. But once you are in a space where you realize you can be replaced, that determination changes. It turns different.
Yes.
It turns different. It turns into, what is it that I am really meant to and destined to do? What is my calling? You start looking at things differently when you're in that space of recognizing that you are replaceable.
What truly is my worth, you know?
Yeah, what is my worth? Exactly.
You're trading time for money at that point. What's the reality of it? And somebody gets to decide. I mean, I did an illustration one time in a meeting where people were, we were talking about coming to work for us and being, an entrepreneur with us and working for our company and stuff. And we're always hiring. And there's people that are afraid to do that. And they're like, well, why would I leave my job? And I said, well, it's not for everybody, but why would you stay? And I said, let's just play a game real quick. Under your chair is a sticky note. I want you to grab that sticky note and look at it. And everybody, of course, had different ones. And they had different numbers. And I'm like, what does this mean? So that's a dollar amount that I'm willing to pay you per hour. If you're not happy with what you see on that sticky note, that's a job. Some of them say 15, some of them say 150. How much you make per hour is determined on how much value and worth you bring to the marketplace, but also how much value and worth you place upon yourself.
On yourself, yes.
An hour of your life worth to you, an hour that you will never get back.
Yeah.
Right? So again, being an entrepreneur, sometimes, the accounts get negative and you go through stuff because that's what, building a business is. But once it's built and once it's going and once it's a machine, like once you've got your investments in place and they're compounding and they're growing, they're doubling, you don't have to worry anymore, but you have to determine for yourself. Nobody can do it for you. This isn't for me to say everybody on this call should own their own business. That's not so. Not everybody has that pulse to do that. Just like I don't have a pulse to invest in the active market or in crypto, because the way my pulse is set up and my blood pressure, I can't handle that stress. That's just me. I like certainty. I like things that don't lose. I like things that I can count on. So it's whatever works for you. But again, I'm not teaching you what to think. I'm teaching you to think.
That's right.
There you go. That's right.
Think for yourself. Don't just take something and say, oh, that's just the way it is, or that's just the way it's always been. It is until it isn't. It is until you determine and you decide today's the day I want something different for my life. I want something different for my family. I want something different for generations that come up behind me. We just have to decide and determine for ourselves and decree it and declare it. And it will be so.
Yeah, we all have options. We just have to figure out if we want to explore them or not.
Yeah.
And get over that fear. Get over that fear. Continue.
That's right.
Here's the thing, that being courageous doesn't mean you're not scared. It just means you do it anyway. It's not the absence of fear. It's moving even though I'm scared, even though I don't know. And what's faith anyway? Faith is taking a step without knowing what the outcome's going to be, but trusting that it's going to be okay. That's faith.
Yeah, that's faith.
That's it.
So what's the R? We got the D. What's the R in drive? It's resourcefulness.
Yes.
Resourceful, okay? What's the resourcefulness? It's the ability to find quick and clever ways to overcome difficulties. You guys being here, just logging in, just watching me talk and ramble on and tell you stories and drink my water, whatever else I do. You're being resourceful just being here, just saying to yourself, there's got to be more. There's something I don't know that I need to know. Or there's something that I understand, but I need to understand it better. Or you know what? I know all of this stuff, but I don't know how to implement it. Let me figure it out. Let me ask somebody that knows. Let me ask somebody that's been down this road. That's being resourceful and finding things to do with what you already have. The one thing that has been constantly been reaffirmed to me over this last year is you don't need anything new. Everything you need to succeed is already in your house. You already have everything you need. You just have to learn to use it wiser. You have to be more resourceful with it. And it was re-ingrained to me just 2 days ago. I meant to cook this one recipe. And when I went to go make the recipe, I realized I didn't have enough chicken. I only had like 1 chicken breast. I needed 4 chicken breasts. Well, what am I going to do now? And I'm looking to see what I had. And I found this amazing sausage that I had frozen. So I added sausage to this dish. It's a chicken dish, but man, it was fire. It was so good. Like, I'm going to keep the recipe like this now. I'm not going to make it the old way. I'm going to make it this way. And it was so good. Everybody loved it. And it's just being resourceful with what you already have. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of times we don't even need to go grocery shopping. Just look in your pantry and figure out, do you know that ChatGPT can tell you, if you say, I got these 10 things, give me a recipe for it. And it'll give you a recipe for what you already have in the house.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we have to be resourceful. And right now with the internet and ChatGPT and all of these things, I literally just created a 30-day meal plan for 2 adults, healthy eating, weight loss journey, everything you want to do. I said, I put spices in, make it flavorful. I don't want no bland stuff. I don't want repeats. Told it all this stuff. And I said, and my budget is $50 a week. And it gave me an entire month worth of meal plans for me and my daughter and the shopping list.
See.
In literally like 3 minutes. So resources, use what you have on hand.
Come on, financial wellness.
Let's go.
I'm not trying, I want to get healthier, but you know what? One of the excuses that we tell ourselves is eating healthy costs too much. And I used to do that.
I hear that all the time.
We hear it a lot, and it's not that it's not true, but again, we got to be resourceful. What can I do with what I have? You could even go in there and say, and I don't like, chicken thighs, so don't put no chicken thighs in there, whatever, and it'll do what you want it to do. It's we got to be resourceful, right? So again, getting back to word, Matthew 7:7, ask given to you. If we don't open our mouth and we don't ask, then how is anybody going to know what we need? Ask, and it's okay. It's okay to say, hey, I don't understand this, or hey, I think I need some help, or man, I got myself in some trouble. I had a call with a young lady right before this, and she was in tears. And she's like, I got myself in some trouble. I kind of knew better, but I thought I would be okay. And then now I'm in hot water. And I helped her through that, and I was able to counsel her and give her some strategy, and she's going to be perfectly fine. And she's like, okay, I can finally sleep tonight. You know what that does to my heart?
Right.
Asked, she wouldn't have gotten her answer. If she would have stayed in that shame, if she would have stayed in that embarrassment, she wouldn't have gotten her relief. So she asked, right? Then she sought and she found and she knocked and the door was open for her.
A closed mouth can't get fed.
I was just going to say that. Somebody very special to me always says, closed mouths don't get fed. My sister cousin. That is what she says all the time.
And I like scripture, Matthew 6:33, but seek first the kingdom of God. Don't forget the second piece, and his righteousness.
Yes.
And all these things shall be added unto you. What are all these things? All these things, whatever that is that you need, it will be added onto you. But you got to seek, you got to ask, you got to knock, you got to get out there, and leads us right into the next letter. The I is what? Initiative.
Yes.
You got to take initiative. You got to move. It's all good and great that you guys are here, and I'm glad that we're having these conversations. But if you never implement any of it, you never initiate, move, take action, what was all this for?
Right.
Right? So initiative is the ability to assess and initiate things independently. Use your initiative, use your imagination and common sense. Another thing is the power or opportunity to act or take charge before others do. Man, timing is everything. There are those, I've been taking AI classes and all of this stuff. Do you know, for 3 years, I know a bunch of stuff about artificial intelligence and how to do things. But that's because I started when I first heard about it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You've got to move when an opportunity is presented to you, even if you don't understand it yet. Because this 7702 hybrid, this index universal life, it ain't new.
Huh.
People are talking about it now in TikTok and Reels and everything else, like it's this brand new whatever. I've been doing it for 15 years. I've been teaching it for 15 years. I've owned it for 15 years. I've sold it for 15 years. So would you rather learn from somebody who just heard about it and knows about it marginally, or somebody that's literally like mastered it, teaches it, lives it, breathes it?
Somebody is seasoned. Wow. Right?
I took initiative.
Yes.
Right? I decided life's got to be different. There's got to be more out there for me. And sometimes you got to take initiative outside of all the people who are supposed to support you that don't support you. And you can't wait for your best friend to come. You can't wait for your family member to support. Just if you see it and you could feel that unction in you, this is for me, and I need to be doing something with this, you better move. You better move and you better do something. Because sometimes a little decision, tiny little pebble that's going to catapult you to the mountain later.
That's so true. That is so true.
I could not agree more.
Excuse me.
Another story, right? When I told you guys earlier, I had a baby very, very young. I was just a couple of months over 18 when I had my oldest son. And I needed to make money. I decided I'm going to take care of my son. I don't want my parents to help me with anything. I want to do this on my own. And so one of my sisters was a waitress. Another friend of mine was a waitress. And they're like, we make full-time money part-time. So that made sense to me. So I started waitressing in the evenings. I would stay home with the baby during the day. My mom came home from work at like 3:30. I went and waitressed evenings, weekends. So baby was always home with family. That felt real good and that felt real nice. Then one of the girls at work asked me one time, where else do you work besides here? And I'm like, nowhere. What do you mean? She goes, you don't work in an office? You're not like a receptionist? I'm like, what's a receptionist?
Tell her.
What? What are you talking about right now? All I knew was factory work, like what was in my environment. I never heard of these things. So she's like, you have good presence. You speak well. Do you know how to type? Yeah, they taught us typing in high school. Do you know how to do this? Yeah. She's like, well, you should go check that out. And it just sparked something in me. Let me go figure this out. So I interviewed somewhere. They hired me. I come home. I'm all excited. I tell my mom, and my mom gets ticked. What are you talking about? You're a horrible mother. You're going to put your son in daycare? What's wrong with you? In our family, we don't do that. Our kids stay with family. We don't put our babies out there with whoever, whatever. Like, what are you doing? She was so mad, clearly unsupportive. But there was just something in me that said, this feels right. I'm doing a good thing for me and for my son. This is going to open up some doors for us. So I did it. I took that initiative against everybody who told me don't do it, didn't believe in me. And that opened up a little spark of something, and then something else. And then that moved on from receptionist to then an admin, a secretary. And then from there, I was an office manager. And then from there, maybe I should take some classes. And, I really like math. Maybe I should do accounting and let me get that degree. And it was just one thing after another. Mm-hmm. And here we are 6 years later. And I've had the blessing of my mother to give me recognition all these years later, 35 years later is when she finally said to me one time, she wouldn't look at me. She's washing the dishes and said it over her shoulder, but she's like, you know what? I'm so glad you never listened to me. You're so nothing I say. And I'm like, okay.
Is that a compliment?
Yeah. And she's like, you would have listened to me when I told you don't take that office job. You wouldn't be doing all the stuff that you know. She watches me do the Zoom calls and stuff. So she, eavesdrops.
Oh.
Like, you wouldn't be doing all the stuff you do now. So I'm so glad I was wrong. And I'm so glad that you didn't listen to me, because look at all the stuff. Look at all the people you're helping. I wish somebody would have helped me the way you help these people.
Right.
And that's, again, that taking that initiative. I don't know who you are. There's at least one of you out there right now that's feeling something. I have to take action on this information. I have to do something with this knowledge. If that's you, please take that initiative. Don't go to bed tonight, wake up tomorrow the same. Don't do that. You know, and again, Proverbs 10:4-5. A slack hand causes poverty. What's slack, right? When we slack off, when we're lazy, we don't do what we're supposed to do, that causes poverty. But the hand of the diligent makes rich. And he who gathers in the summer is a prudent son, but he who sleeps in harvest is a son who brings shame. And that reminded me, do you guys remember when we were kids and we used to watch those after school cartoons? You guys remember Woody Woodpecker?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
This is Woody Woodpecker cartoon. Listen, all these years later, God would use it for something. It was Woody Woodpecker in the summertime, chilling, laying out, sunglasses on, sipping, you know, jumping in the pool, like just having all this fun. And then there was all the squirrels gathering nuts and working real hard. And he's laughing, like making fun of them. Come on, y'all, let's go swimming. They're like, no, winter's coming, winter's coming. And he's like, it's 90 degrees. Like, what do you mean? And just laughing, you know. But then winter did come.
I remember that one.
I remember that one too.
In his tree, freezing cold, stomach rumbling. You could see the little rumbling and stuff. And he's just all emaciated and starving and stuff, and goes and knocks on the next door tree where the squirrels are living it up and partying it up with all this surplus. And he's begging them for some food. What does that have to do? It has everything to do with what we're talking right now. If we're over here spending everything we got in the summertime, in the youth, when we're strong and healthy and we're able to do all of these things, winter's coming. For some of us sooner rather than later. For some of you guys might have a couple decades on us. But have to prepare now for then. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. That's what this is all about. I'm teaching you guys tools that you can implement so that later you have enough. You have surplus. You don't have to worry. If you live to be, 90 like my daddy or 100 like some other people, like at least you'll have enough to last you all of that time. If something happens and you get sick or whatever, you'll have, this hopefully the 7702 hybrid that's going to give you that long-term care, that chronic illness. But we have to prepare while we can. While we have the resources, let's put some away and do something with it, because we've been talking about risk, right? We talked about all these different risks, but one of the biggest risks too is not taking any action. Mm-hmm. And I know it seems risky, and I know it's like, man, but I never heard of this stuff before, and it sounds weird. And don't wait till 20, 25 years from now when it finally becomes commonplace. You had already done missed the boat. It happens. It happens a lot. Don't let it happen to you again. Because even though this sounds strange and you've never heard about it before, and that can be risky, and I'm not saying that it isn't a leap. I recognize that, I understand it, I respect it. But do you know that not taking any action is a risk too? Because if you think investing is expensive, wait till you get the bill for not investing.
Come on.
Yes.
We're family at this point. I'm going to talk to you with love, but I'm going to be a little bit hard on you, because sometimes being too nice and being too passive hurts people. Mm-hmm. It does. So I have to put your feet to the fire a little bit so that you can think about these things. And even if you don't do them with us, do them with somebody.
That's right.
That's right. Do something.
It isn't about us. It's about just do something.
That's right.
Okay. This one, the next one, the V in drive is being voracious. I'm like, Lord, what does voracious mean? Consuming or eager to consume great amounts of food, being ravenous. Think of
hungry. I'm hungry. Let's
starving. Starving, right? Think of an animal that hasn't eaten in a week and it finally gets a kill. How is it going to eat that? It's going to be ravenous, right? Mm-hmm. Tearing it up. Like, I'm just going to, sometimes when we show up to the family cookout, right? We ravenous, or our teenagers, right? They show up and eat all the pantry.
All of it.
All of it.
He's starving, strong desire for an activity or a pursuit. If we're just passive about stuff, we might get a little something here and there. But if we're just ravenous for it, voracious, let me consume all the information I can. Let me get all the knowledge I can. But then I always pray, Lord, give me discernment and give me wisdom. Give me discernment and give me wisdom. But everything changed for me when I added one sentence to that. And give me the courage to act upon what you show me.
That's right.
Okay.
So when we have that strong desire to pursue something, and we just go for it with voraciousness, like we're starving for it. We're like, give me more, give me more. I want to learn more. I want to do more. Once you start saving your money and investing and you see it growing and you see it doing what it's supposed to do, then your desire grows and you're like, I want to do more. I want to do more. I want to do more. One of my favorite scriptures is Psalm 37:4. If you delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Even if you forget what those desires are, sometimes he puts promises in our heart and they don't come to pass right away. And we think, oh, it's not going to happen. And we forget about it. We discard it, but he doesn't.
Right.
My baby girl, who is 19 now, I adopted her. I already had my two sons and I really desired a daughter. He put that desire in my heart. And, I didn't trust my body to have a baby at 34 years old. I had had 3 miscarriages in the past. My husband had had a vasectomy. They would have to have reversed, but we decided we wanted another baby at 34 years old. Our sons at the time were 12 and 17. And so we decided to adopt. And I had
I'm so sorry. I was trying to catch it. I couldn't get it fast enough.
Good. I had said to myself, if I don't have a baby by the time my young one's 10, I'm just going to forget about it, right? I want to start over and all of that stuff. Well, at this point, he's 12. And then here comes this idea to adopt a baby. And we went ahead and went for it. And it was so seamless. And it was just, even the lawyers, like, I'm not a believer in God or any of that stuff, but I feel like God literally said, here's your baby, and just handed it to you. I've never seen anything go so smooth in my life.
Wow.
Right. So baby girl came home 22 hours old. She's been with me ever since. But I was in church when she was about 11 or 12. And the pastor was saying, is there anything that you ever prayed for that didn't happen and you forgot all about it? You just discarded it like, oh, that's never going to happen for me. And then God did it anyway.
Yeah.
And I lost it because I was holding my daughter. And you had forgotten about this. And I still made it good. I still honored my word. So just having that voraciousness, that strong desire, I just envisioned a time where I would have a little best friend, a little broke best friend that would be in my pockets all the time. No, maybe I didn't envision that part, but she is my little sidekick. We go everywhere together. We do everything together. And she's my best friend. And who would have known that a year and a half later, I would be divorced? Who would have known that a year and a half after she was born, I would leave that $1 million house with just what I could put in the back of my truck in black garbage bags and leave with just my baby and whatever belongings I had. But I had her. And I will tell you what, the only reason that I've done everything I've done is because of her. Because she's looking at me and she's counting on me. And there's days that she would look at me and say, Mommy, you're not going to cry today, right? And I would be like, nope, not today. Not today. And I would go do what I had to do. And so timing is everything. Because if she had come any sooner, it wouldn't have been the same result. It had to be at that time. But the desire in my heart was so strong that I pursued it in prayer and I pursued it. And even after I discarded it, it still happened. So just be voracious and have that strong desire. Whatever you're feeling in your heart that's for you, God put that there. I used to think that this scripture meant that he would give you what you desired in your heart. And what I understand now is that he will give you the desire itself. He gives you the desires, which means that if you desire something, whatever that is for you, not everybody wants to be a millionaire, by the way. Not everybody wants to be rich. That's not everybody's desire. But whatever that desire is for you, like I desire a business or I desire whatever that is. So we're talking about finances. That's there for a reason. Don't discard that. It doesn't make you greedy. It doesn't make you whatever. If you have that desire in you, that means that it can come to pass. But you got to do something. You got to chase it. You got to take action on it. And you got to make it happen.
That's right.
Right? So what's the E?
What's the E?
Excellence. So excellence is the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. Being outstanding, not doing outstanding, being outstanding. And I always tell my kids, life to me is about who you be. It's not good grammar, but it's good advice. Who you be in any situation is what makes you completely different from anybody else. If somebody wrongs you, you have the opportunity to be forgiving or be vindictive. So who you be is everything. And what God calls us to do is to be excellent, not perfect, but excellent. What is that? To do your best in every situation, to do extremely good in everything that you can, do everything as unto the Lord, not as unto man, and just be as excellent as you can possibly be. In this situation, what is the most excellent thing that you could do? If you don't have money to save and you don't have money to invest and all of that, it's fine. But what's the most excellent thing that you can do right now to move that puck forward and to get you closer, to your goal? Can you do something in excellence that would get you closer to that? Always something that we could be doing, right? And don't forget, again, God's promises in Jeremiah 29:11. This is the first scripture that he spoke in my heart that I actually understood. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And there's another translation that says, for I think good thoughts towards you. You know what God thinks about you? To give you a future and a hope and an expected end. We know what we can expect at the end, and it's good stuff. And I spoke that scripture all the time, and I held on to it. And one day in prayer, God said, there's more to that scripture than just that piece. You can move on. You graduate now to the next piece. So the next piece in 12:13, it says, then. Once you believe the first thing, look at that, brought us all the way back to day one. What do you believe? Do you believe that he has good plans for you? Do you believe that he wants to prosper you and not harm you? Do you believe that he wants to give you a future and a hope? Because if you believe that, and that's your foundation, and that's what you stand on, then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all of your heart.
You're taking us to church, ain't she?
You gotta believe it first. You don't believe it? Listen, if I'm talking all this stuff and you're sitting here with your arms crossed like, well, that ain't never gonna happen to me. Well, that ain't me. Then guess what? If that's what you believe, then you're right.
It's not.
That's right. But if you believe, if it happened to one other person, then it could also happen to me. Why not me?
Why not me? That's right.
Why not me? Why not my family? Why not my kids? Why not my grandchildren? Right? But we got to believe it first, because if we don't believe it, then what are we doing? So all that good sounds awesome. Where do I even start? Where do I start? How do I do this? 5 practical things now. Okay, practical. You got to set a clear goal, a clear decision. And if we use the acronym of SMART, which I didn't make that one up, that one's been around for years, right? But it's got to be specific. If you say, I want to make more money, and you just leave it at that, listen, I can hand you $1. You just made more money.
That's right.
Is that what you meant? So you have to be specific. You have to write down an exact specific goal. And again, it doesn't even have to be money. Maybe it's just, look, I want to understand money, or I want to feel like I'm in control of it. Or, I don't want to be afraid to open my mail anymore. I want to be in control of my life. I want to be debt free. Set a declaration and a specific goal, and it's got to be measurable. By when? I want to be debt free. Okay, by when? When do you want to do that by? Do you want to do that by December 2025? Like when? Let's measure it. Because otherwise, if we just have a goal, but we don't have a timeline, how do we know if we ever reached it? It's like a yes, right? We never know if we actually reached our destination or not. We just drive it.
I believe in objectives as opposed to goals, though. I mean, I guess they're pretty much the same thing, but the goals, you just said, what if we don't reach it? So doesn't that defeat you in your head? You didn't make it to that point that you said you were going to be at. That's why I said objectives, and I'm not dispelling what you're saying. I said objectives because they're long ranging.
Yes.
So, but the goals, to me, they defeat sometimes. You know, just explain that.
You know, so a goal could be, you know, for example, again, I want to lose weight. Well, okay, what does that mean? If you lose a pound, is that what you meant? So a specific, measurable, attainable, you know, goal is I want to lose 20 pounds by June 30th. Is that attainable? Yeah, in 6 months, you could, you know, lose a few pounds a month and lose 20 pounds in 6 months. If you say I want to lose 20 pounds by Valentine's Day, that's specific and that's measurable, but it's probably not attainable unless you do something unhealthy, you know? And then I honestly don't remember what the R and the T stand for right now because I'm under pressure. But you guys get right? The next part, and I'm also looking at the clock. The next part is track your numbers. You gotta just, if you want to start anywhere, just start tracking your numbers. Start writing down what you may remember when we did the exercise with the calendar. At least that, track your numbers. What are my bills? And actually picked one of these up, just my new one for this year at Walgreens for $4. Write down what are your bills for the week? How much do you make every Friday? Is there a surplus? Is there not? Like, just start tracking stuff. What's another easy one that you could do? Practice the pause. We get a lot of pop-ups on our phone, especially social media, because the phones be listening. If you say one thing, it starts popping up ads and all that stuff. Yeah. So just learn to just practice the pause. Just wait 24 hours. Don't buy anything. Don't order anything. Don't subscribe to anything. Just wait 24 hours. Go back the next day and then see, does it still make sense? Or was I just buying this on impulse?
Yeah.
Because those ads are geared to plan our emotions, and they're geared to make us feel urgent, like we got to do it right now. And a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times you'll realize, hold on a second, I already have one of these, or I wouldn't even use this, or I don't even know what that means, or you know, it's whatever. And then you end up not buying it. And that's a pretty good way to just not overspend, is just waiting 24 hours. One little thing that you could do is just open a savings account. Even if you put $5 in it every week, it's better than zero, right? And little by little, all you're doing right now is just exercising that muscle. All you're doing is strengthening that habit to where it's just what you do. One of the things that's an automatic for me, Atreeia, tithing. I don't have to think about it. It's just what you do. And some people have whatever thoughts they have about it, opinions. My personal conviction opinion is that's what I do. So again, it just becomes something that I automatically do because I do it all the time, but it started very small. One thing that you could do, what about, you know, starting the funeral plan? Call Atreeia, get started on that Assure for Life plan. That's at least, if nothing else, if you're not going to leave an inheritance and you're not going to leave, you know, life insurance benefits, can you at least not leave a bill?
Right.
Can we take responsibility for ourselves and at least not leave a burden and a bill for our families? That's one thing we could do.
Absolutely.
Right? So you could do something, one thing, just one thing, and then next time add on another little thing. For those of you that are already saving, for those of you that are already making money and you're like, man, this is like baby stuff, well, then maybe we can stop overspending and overpaying on taxes, or maybe we could stop some of the bleeding and stop losing some of that money. Just having a conversation doesn't hurt, right?
That's right.
So we'll start. That's my entire point. It's just start. Okay. So that's it for healthy habits, guys.
Wow. I feel healthier already.
I feel healthy from listening, but I'm not feeling so good.
Greg is under the weather. I can tell. I know you're going to hit us with the what say you, Greg. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off.
Just go. What say you?
All right. What say you? Whether it's an objective or a goal, we have to have our tools in place. With that being said, if you don't know what those tools are, listen to these podcasts. If you have any questions, reach out, ask. That's what we're here for. But like I said, in order for you to satisfy the objective or goal, whatever it is, you got to have your tools in place.
Absolutely. Good wisdom. Martha?
I'm just going to close it up by saying, don't miss next week.
Yeah.
That's the bow.
Is our next installment. This is going to be the bow, because you know what's one thing I cannot stand is when people tell you what to do, but they don't tell you how. So how? We've been saying all of this stuff. Okay, great. I love it. Fine. How do I do it then? How do I get one? What is it going to do for me? How is it going to help me? What are all the other benefits that come with it? So that's next week. We're going to wrap it all up and give you the how of it. And hopefully, you guys will tune in and bring some friends with you.
They're going to do that.
It's worth listening in on.
Gina, what say you?
Yes. What say me? I say a lot of people out here pray to the Lord for financial gain, for financial stability. If you're praying for it, you can't just sit there and wait for the ship to come by and you don't get in. You have to do something. You have to do something. He sends you the resources. You have to do something. So don't be afraid to tap into Atreeia or Martha. There's no pressure to do anything. Get the information that you need. Don't be ashamed if you can't do any of it. But at least educate yourself on things that you may be able to do. You may be able to do it in the future. You may be able to pass it on to a family member. Just do it.
That's right.
I'm so glad that you put the not just the financial aspect of it, but the spiritual aspect of it as well. You related everything to scripturally, and we know that the Bible was written a long time ago. Okay, so in order to you got to look back sometime in order to go forward. One of my favorites is I think it's in James. Faith without works is dead. All right, we can have all the faith in the world that everything's going to go just like we want it to go, but we're waiting for somebody else to do it. Or you got to put in the work. And you guys are telling us some great advice. And the hundreds of people that do
I don't
watch.
know if I'm. Everyone else is frozen. Might be on my end.
Yeah, that's on your end because you're looking a little grainy right there. But be all right.
So happy.
Be all right.
Crazy.
Next week, man, we're wrapping it up. So they think. They're wrapping it up, okay? We might keep them forever. But make sure that you guys tune in next Thursday, all right? This is something that we really need, especially now. We don't know what's going on in the world, okay? So much stuff is going on. And we need to, number one, keep ourselves financially fit and financially well. Thank you, Atreeia. Thank you, Martha, for coming on every single week for the past 5 weeks and hooking us up.
6.
Yeah, 6. What's wrong with me? And hooking. I told y'all, man, I'm a little ill.
It's okay.
I'm gonna be all right.
It's okay.
And as soon as the camera's cut off, everything just gonna drop. But at least I got that financial pill, all right, and that makes me well. Having said that, man, this is DopelivenTV Live. We'll see you guys Monday. Oh, damn, it's the end of the week. I couldn't do another show this week anyway. Woo! We'll see you guys Monday, and don't forget. And someone asked a question real quick. How can they? Where was it at here? Are these recorded so I can watch the previous weeks? Yes, they are. Go to the Dope Living YouTube page. But you can also just scroll my page, or Gina's page, or Martha's page, or Atreeia's page. They're on there. So yes, you can do these. We might be selling these for $59.99. All right. I hate the free part, but anyway, this is DopelivenTV Live, man. We'll see you guys next week. All right, have a great weekend.